The frozen tundra of Krithos V stretched endlessly beneath twin moons, their pale light reflecting off jagged ice formations that pierced the sky like frozen blades. The temperature hovered far below what most humans could survive, even in their most advanced suits. But this wasn't about survival, not yet. For Lysera, the alien woman crawling through the snow, it was about hope. Or, at least, the fragile illusion of it. Her body shivered violently despite her native physiology, which should have protected her from cold. The atmospheric anomaly on Krithos V had created a hyperthermal frost zone that penetrated even the most resilient exoskeletons of her species. She had been sent here on a diplomatic mission, an emissary from the Ziran Council, to negotiate peace between rival factions. Instead, betrayal had left her stranded, her transport destroyed, and the planet's ice fields surrounding her like a cage. Lysera's breath crystallized in the air with every exhale. She could feel her energy reserves dropping. Her limbs moved slower with each step, and her vision blurred from frostbite. She collapsed onto the icy surface, crawling weakly toward a faint shimmer of light in the distance, a human settlement she had spotted hours before. Her species had no natural ability to endure these conditions for long, and she knew her time was limited. "Please don't let this be it," she whispered to the wind. And then she saw him. Elias Carter, human, former space diplomat, volunteer rescue operative, was moving toward her in an odd, purposeful gait across the ice. His exosuit emitted a warm energy field that glowed softly in the darkness, almost like a beacon of life. To her freezing senses, he was impossibly large, impossibly warm, and impossibly human. "Lysera," he called, his voice amplified through the suit's external speakers. "Hold on. I've got you." She wanted to reach out, but her hands felt like stone, and her body refused to obey. She barely had the energy to lift her head when he was beside her, dropping to one knee. His gloved hands were steady, strong, and reassuring. "Stay with me," he said. "I won't let the cold take you." Lysera's species had known humans from afar, stories of their fragility and resilience mixed in equal measure. Most Zirans considered humans reckless, even foolish, yet their legends often whispered of an inner strength that could not be measured in weaponry or speed. Lysera had thought them charming myths. Until now. Elias carefully lifted her into his arms, holding her close to his chest. His exosuit began radiating additional heat, enough to stabilize her failing metabolism. For the first time in hours, Lysera felt warmth creep into her bones. Not just physical warmth, something deeper, something profoundly human. You're saving me," she managed to say, her voice weak. "Yes," Elias replied, his voice steady but gentle. "And I won't stop until you're safe." The journey back to the human outpost was treacherous. Krithos V's ice storms were unpredictable, sudden, and violent. Elias carried her like she weighed nothing, moving with precision and determination honed from years of survival training. Every step was a battle against frost, wind, and fatigue, but he refused to falter. Along the way, Lysera began to regain awareness. Her alien physiology had a remarkable capacity for recovery once stabilized, and the human's embrace kept her conscious. She noticed small things about him. The way he navigated the terrain without hesitation, how he kept his body shielded against the gusts of freezing wind, and the steadiness of his gaze. Unlike her species, who calculated risks with cold logic, humans had a tendency to act based on instinct, compassion, or stubbornness, qualities she had rarely encountered in the interstellar diplomatic corridors she was used to. Why risk yourself for me?" she asked, shivering but slowly regaining her voice. Elias didn't pause. "Because no one should face this alone." And because you're more than a diplomatic file or a political pawn. You're a living being, and right now, that's enough reason. Lysera blinked. Such sentimentality was foreign. Yet it stirred something inside her, a warmth that even the icy winds could not quench. Hours passed. The storm worsened. Lysera felt her strength return but also noticed her growing dependency on the human. She was not used to relying on anyone. Not her team, not the council, and certainly not someone from a species she had only known through stories. Yet here she was, cradled against warmth, carried through a world that should have ended her. Finally, they reached the human settlement, a cluster of geodesic domes emitting a soft amber glow, surrounded by energy shields to protect against the harsh weather. Elias activated the outer door, sliding her inside. The warmth hit her like a wave, bringing tears to her eyes. "You're safe now," Elias said, gently lowering her onto a medical cot. "We'll have you fully recovered soon." Lysera's breathing normalized, and she felt the last remnants of cold retreat. But what surprised her most wasn't the heat. It was the human's presence beside her, his calm, unwavering commitment to her safety. Over the next few days, Lysera recovered. The human medics marveled at her resilience, but she could sense something unique about Elias. He didn't treat her as a guest or a subject. He treated her as a person, worthy of dignity, concern, and even friendship. The alien and human differences that once seemed insurmountable now felt trivial in comparison to their shared experience of survival. One evening, as the settlement's artificial suns bathed the interior in soft light, Lysera and Elias stood together outside the main dome. The wind still howled across Krithos V, but the warmth inside the settlement created a fragile sanctuary. "I never thought I'd make it through that storm," Lysera admitted, her voice soft. "I thought I'd freeze forever." "You didn't," Elias replied, smiling faintly. "And you won't. Not if I can help it." For a moment, the alien woman hesitated. Her species had a complex culture around physical contact, and trust was not given lightly. Yet the memory of him carrying her through the storm, of his steady warmth, and of his willingness to risk everything to save her life, pressed against her resolve. Slowly, instinctively, she leaned against him. He wrapped his arms around her, not as a diplomat would, not as a soldier might, but as a human, simple, honest, protective. The effect was immediate. Lysera felt warmth seep into her chest, her frozen heart thawing in a way she hadn't thought possible. The cold, the fear, the isolation, all of it melted under the quiet strength of human compassion. "You are remarkable," she whispered. "And so are you," he replied. "You survived. You're alive. And that matters."